Alright, g'day, hi and welcome. Okay, good, I get 29 minutes again. Okay, good. If I break up my videos, I can get more out of this camera. If I just do one, I get 29 minutes. This camera's, I forget when I bought it, but yeah. But anyway, as I was saying in the last video, so, talking about the Amish and bit and stuff like that, like, you know, we do need to take a step back from technology. Like, the local library just had a grand opening. Yeah, not yesterday, but was it yesterday? No, the day before. Sorry. And I did the photos for it and stuff like that for the Pontiac Journal newspaper. Small town again. Everybody shows up. Anytime there's a small town shindig, I typically show up. You know, like it's they're going to be having a dance at the hall. I didn't catch the date, but whenever they're going to do that, it's like, okay, maybe I'll go and check that out, you know. Maybe they'll have a live band or something like that. And you go out more for socialization than anything, right? And that's something, like, since I was a kid, we used to have these things called socials. The adults had them, you know, but they'd bring the kids, like, and it was just like, hey, everybody, we're meeting at this place here, we're going to have a social. And the whole town would show up kind of thing. We had Heritage Days. That was always fun. We have a carnival still. We used to have hockey teams and broomball teams and all that, but people don't go outside and play anymore, right? And these were the young adults, because you got to understand, like in the 80s and 90s, like people didn't sit on the computer all day in 1995. It's like, oh, the internet, okay, take half an hour to, you know, on dial-up to an hour to hook to the thing, and you went on a chat board and trolled for about 15 minutes, and then you say, okay, yeah, let's go do something else, you know? So, you know, same with video games and stuff like that. You didn't spend all day doing it. The arcades, you'd go into the arcades, but you went in with your friends. You know, sometimes you go in by yourself, you know, just for something to do, but you weren't in there all day. Number one, you couldn't afford it. Whatever. Like, I'd rather play pool than pinball. You know, I love pinball. I freaking love pinball. You know, it's one of those things that if I had a pinball machine at home, I probably wouldn't play it. You know what I mean? Because I'm always looking for other stuff to do. So when you focus your life around community, right? What does that look like? What does that mean? You know, and a lot of people don't know what it means. It just means the little things. It really does. It's a little adds up to a lot. But the big one is when a community can pull together for something or for someone, like somebody's house burns down and everybody chips in and, you know, gives a couple $100 each and whatever, $10 or $5, whatever, and then on top of that they bring over like food and blankets and whatever. You see that stuff in the small towns all the time, and that's what we're going to lose through modernity, right? All these people that are, you know, we have to go into this sterile AI, like we have to have this AI or we're not going to advance. But really, advancing AI only advances AI. It doesn't really contribute to human well-being that much. I mean, I have nothing against Catholics, but it seems like Catholics have really embraced like some really wacky stuff. And I think it's in Spain or in Greece or someplace like that. I was seeing it on Red Ice where they have a Jesus, but it's an AI Jesus for your confessions. Which Catholics go into, for those that don't know, like Catholics, there's a confession booth where you can go in and a priest would... So they're even getting rid of the priests. So it's artificial. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not a solution to... It's an atheist solution to confession. Right? And atheism is probably the worst religion out there. And yes, it is a religion. People treat it as... There are some that are, you know, intellectual about it and stuff like that, and the deeper meaning, whatever. But even the most upper end, like your Richard Dawkinsons, people like that, those type atheists, have come to the conclusion that we need Christianity in the West because the loss of it culturally has been a devastating... the highest suicide rates we've ever seen, the highest drug addicts rates we've ever seen. It's just absolute nightmare. Like I say, the deaths of despair is mostly from deracination, lack of identity. All these people, I have to travel the world to find out who I am. No, you don't. I mean, travel the world because you want to go see something. Like, if I'm going to travel, I'm going to go see like 50,000 tons of metal. If I'm ever going to go on a cruise ship, I'm going there. Why? Because there's going to be really cool bands that I want to see. If I'm going to go exploring, I'd probably explore the Arctic. I'd probably explore like the Nordic countries, stuff like that, just to see it. You know what I mean? Because palm trees. Once you see palm trees once, you're like, okay, that's cool. But these people that they're, like these travel channels, all these people get really depressed, All these people working in office buildings, they all get depressed. I talked about it on my other channel. Like, as a guy who works outside a lot, right? Especially when you had to work outside on a day like today, where it's cold and it's kind of miserable a bit. Whatever, and you're like, you don't want to be there, but as long as you're dressed for it, whatever, and you're moving around, you're concentrating task at hand, you get the job done. But when you go to the house and it's nice and warm and you take a shower and all that, then you get into your comfy clothes and you're so appreciative of it. It just lifts your spirits, and then you have a good meal or whatever. And if you can have good conversation with that meal, that icing on the cake. And I'm not saying everybody has to go back to like Little House on the Prairie, but we need to go back to a modern version of that. Like, this is why I advocate for the extended family, not the nuclear family. The nuclear family was already the deterioration, right? And I think a lot of people, have missed the point of reliance on AI and stuff like that. They really think that that's going to solve our problems. But it's like, no, it's not. No. Men need you got all these men that's sitting on the, sitting on the internet all day, or playing, video games all day, smoking dope, all that. Those guys are the guys that are depressed. Those are the guys that are lonely. Those are the guys that are hurting, right? It's not the guys that are out and about. The guys that are out and about have a mission, and men need a mission. And the best mission they can have is family. I think we have enough evidence of that, right? Because anything that gets you out of your own head, I'm not saying you have to neglect yourself. You have to take care of yourself, right? But when you're right-hand path, you're on the wall looking outwards. You're not absorbed with selfism or what do you call it? Main character syndrome is like all these weird things that are coming out now. It's like, we gotta find these people have these weird behaviors that we have to find new fucking names for. I'm like, we used to just call that narcissism. Main character syndrome. But I get it. Like, I do get it. I understand how, you do become, I'm sure I'm guilty as well, but, I'm not obsessed with it. I'm not, okay, I have to be out in the middle of everybody. Okay, everybody stand back. I'm making a TikTok. You know what I mean? But there are people like that. The main character, they attribute so much importance to themselves because it's all they can do, right? Where there's something to be said about the nuance of appreciation from your community. Like, when I take pictures or whatever, okay, like for Remembrance Day, the grand opening of the library. Number one, I love using my camera, right? So, it's an old camera, whatever, I get it. But then I post them on my Facebook for the community to see, and then it goes on the municipal website, and it goes in the newspaper or whatever. And I get comments, oh, thanks for coming out. And people are always coming up to me with the camera, oh, we appreciate so much what you do. And so, no problem, you know what I mean? And that's what means something to me, not the photo. The photos are photos, right? Okay, it's a snapshot of a memory, sure. But the thing is that it's the engagement with the communities your community that's what makes you feel grounded, right? Now, add engagement with your community with understanding of the historical context of where you live, of who was there before you, where your ancestors came from, blah, 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 all that stuff. Suddenly, you don't feel this loneliness of, what am I going to do with my life or whatever. It's like, okay, how do I do right by my life and move forward so that I can, inspire the next generation, right? So that's why, I do what I do. It might not work for everybody. I get that. But it does solve a lot of problems for people. Maybe I'll leave it here. Maybe see if I can get a third video. Let's see what we got. Okay, 18 minutes. Let's see if I can get more than that.